Hey, it's Dan. Welcome back. You're watching iAllegedly, and I've got a good one for you. My final day in Las Vegas for the Formula One, but there is a scam that has taken place that we're all going to pay for, and I cannot wait to share this with you. Please, as usual, always hit the like button on these videos. Please share them with everybody. And today we have a sponsor, Belly Trim XP, and I'll talk about them a little later. But let's get right into it. Student loan forgiveness. Remember, it was approved, it was not approved. Well, it was approved. And think about this. If a person made under $125,000, they could get between $10,000 and $20,000 worth of their student loan debt completely forgiven. And, they had to prove this. And what happened was it was going to be ineligible. It was eligible. The Supreme Court kicked it out. Well, guess what happened? A lot of people filed for this, and the Government Accountability Office, the GAO, which oversaw COVID fraud, realized that people were out there saying, yeah, I make under $125,000 a year, and there was no check on this. There was zero accountability from these borrowers. And there are, listen to this number, it looks like about 26 million people are getting their loans forgiven right now. Is that insane? Now, this has been proven to be unconstitutional, but because so many people applied for this and took advantage of it, that the government's just going to let this slide. This is disgusting. Share this with everybody. There's a great article out of the Wall Street Journal talking about this, but here's the thing. You could have an income, if you're married, of up to $250,000, okay? And they're not checking any of this. So these people may have had the money and the ability to pay these loans back, but now you and I are stuck holding the bill. So it's not fair. And they're putting limits on future payments to where it can be no more than 5% of your income for a year. So here's the problem with this. With COVID and with the fraud that we saw from COVID, we saw tens of billions of dollars that was given to people who completely lied about their businesses, made up businesses, lied about the number of employees, lied about what they did, and filed for multiple loans, and people bought everything for this. Now, yeah, there's been some bad actors caught, but not enough. Now, with the student loan debt, what they were told and what a lot of people were told was, hey, just apply for this. They're going to approve it. They're so behind, they don't have the time or the paperwork to verify anything. So think about how criminal this is. Well, you and I are caught holding the bill for this. Is this awful? I'm disgusted by it. I think it's one of the worst things I've ever heard. Again, I get people that talk to me about how they are in their late 50s and they still have student loan debt and they did not make enough money, but there are bad actors out there. And I shared this with you guys, I think about 2 or 3 months ago, where a guy bought a Toyota, with his student loan money. And then when Joe Biden didn't approve this and it got kicked out of the Supreme Court, he had to sell the car and advertise that because Joe Biden's not forgiving our student loan debt, I have to sell this vehicle. Insanity, absolute insanity. But you have so many people that took advantage of the system that didn't make any payments, didn't make any arrangements for this. Now, we've seen this to where this is the final straw, guys. This is the final thing between this and mortgage forbearance. Mortgage forbearance ends at the end of this month. My friends that are in the foreclosure business are saying it's going to be the Wild West. And you can sit there and say, oh, no, it's not going to be a problem. There's no inventory. There's going to be a lot of inventory because people have house payments that they've not made for over 3 years. Have not made a house payment for 3 years. Now, some people took advantage of forbearance where they took their payments and put them at the end of the loan. And those people did the right thing and they're paying for it and maybe, basically added the loan payments onto the end. Okay? Got to stay in their house, got to keep the home. Some people refinanced, very few did that, but some did refinance. But the rest of them didn't do anything, didn't pay anything. These people with the student loan debts that have had basically 3 years to work this out have done nothing. And some of them got a free $20,000 and the joke is on you and I. So share your thoughts on this stuff. Do you think it's fair? Because I have so many people that ate top ramen and lived at friends' houses to make their student loan payments to pay this off. And there's these people that just basically lie. Don't worry about it. They're never going to figure it out. So eventually they're going to figure this out. But will these people be prosecuted for this? Share your thoughts on this because it's absolutely awful. Let's talk about our sponsor, Belly Trim XP. Let's face it, as we get older, belly fat is a real problem. And it can lead to some very serious health consequences if you do not do something about this. Most people don't want to do diet and exercise and they want a quick fix. Well, there is something all natural that you can take from the good people at BioTrust called Belly Trim. And you can save over 50% off the regular price by going to trimwithdan.com and take advantage of this. It's all natural, it doesn't speed you up. It's conjugated linoleic acid, which has been proven to beat belly fat. Now, so many of you have ordered this. When you buy this from BioTrust, they throw in all these different health screenings and fitness guides and things like that. It's absolutely amazing. Take a look at Belly Trim XP today. Go to trimwithdan.com. But let's face it, we need an edge. Do what you can do to speed this up and help with this weight loss process. But look at Belly Trim XP today. It comes from the good people at BioTrust who have shipped over 15 million products. We came to Las Vegas to see the Formula One race, and it was absolutely fantastic. And we had a room that overlooked the racetrack, and it was quite the experience. I attended 3 nights of the event, and my daughter did all 4, and it was just absolutely amazing. Our room overlooked the track, and it was just an amazing race. It was really cool to see this, and Max Verstappen won. Again, he's truly the leader of Formula One right now, to say the least, but it was quite the event. Really a first-class event all the way around. I was really pleased that I got to participate in this. And did anybody else go to it? Anybody else out there that made it to Formula One? It was great. But I think that this is going to be back. I think that overall it was a success. It was a big learning curve for the city, but it was great. Share your thoughts on this stuff so far. It's very cool. I would like to think that I grew up as a responsible young man and turned into a decent adult. And I would think it was the education that I got. I would think it was the experiences I had, and my parents teaching me right from wrong. And one thing that fascinates me right now is our grades that we see from things like the ACT test to get into college are at their lowest level in decades. Just awful. And kids are not doing well in school right now, and it's being reflective by these test scores. So what do? We don't make it more difficult or, hey, study hard. No, you give people free money and you let them get into colleges and you let them become lawyers without actually passing a test. And this is just dangerous to do this. So the ACT test scores are at their lowest levels ever. And you're seeing this. And college admissions are showing this. You're seeing these students that are just not as good as they were a decade ago or even 5 years ago. It's a real problem. How about this? Crime has become such a real problem, and the criminals are getting more brazen. In Southern California, where I live, there's something called dinner time robberies, where people are showing up and robbing people in their home between 7 and 9 o'clock. Walking in, people are having dinner, and they're either strong-arming these people, but robbing the houses with the people home and showing up and doing this. And it's become a real problem in Orange County, California. Wow. I mean, it's getting worse. Tacoma, Washington, they're doing something that they're all jumping up and down for. We're taking cars, and if you want your catalytic converter etched, we will etch the catalytic converter. Please understand this. This is ridiculous from a man who's had 3 catalytic converters stolen off of cars. What they would do is if it was etched, they would just ship it someplace else. Oh, well, you won't be able to sell it in Tacoma. Oh, okay. Well, there's a number here. Let me see who owns this. It's ridiculous. Now, in Hawaii, what they did to get rid of this problem was you have to sign when you sell a catalytic converter where you got it from. You have to also say that you're the owner of the catalytic converter when a guy would walk into a disposal yard with 3, 5, 6 of them. So again, the thieves are getting more brazen. Things are happening, but you have to do something to deter crime. How about prosecuting these people when they do such a thing? I think that would be number one. So share your thoughts on this. I've had so many people that have had catalytic converters stolen, and when it happens, it does such damage to the car, and people say, oh, it's no big deal. They just replace it. It is a big deal. I had a car, one of my cars was absolutely destroyed as a result of the catalytic converter being cut off, and then the idiot tow truck driver starting the car. So it completely ruined the vehicle. And but don't worry, we're going to etch your serial number on it for the bad guys so that they can't sell it. Oh, okay. I think it's going to be pointless and not do anything to deter crime. One thing that we always talk about here is to check your bills, invoices, everything to make sure you're being charged properly. Marianne Hatcher lives in Florida, and she lives in St. Johns County. Now, living in an unincorporated area, she buys a lot of stuff on Amazon. And through the years, her shipping address has been listed as Jacksonville, which is in Duval County, which has a different tax code and different tax amount for sales tax. Well, she finally figured this out and said, wait a second, I think I'm overpaying for my sales tax. So she went to Amazon, and sure enough, she was overcharged $750 for her sales tax through the years. So how many of us else have had this happen to us? But, good job, Marianne. But this spurred other people on the Nextdoor app to talk about this. Wait a second, I live in that area, and I'm getting charged this over that. You have to check this out, guys. But none of us look at our sales tax and say, is it being computed correctly? So I'm not going to sit there and say she should have known this, but this is wild, and they gave her a $750 credit. So how many other people does this happen to? Share your thoughts on this. I have to film inside today because of the unbelievable winds that are happening right now in Las Vegas. They're over 50 miles an hour, and it's just very intense outside. So we'll be back to normal videos in the next video. So much of our economic news is bad. It really is. And there are so many more experts talking about how we're going to see a huge drop in the stock market and eventually home prices. But here's something that's absolutely amazing. Did you know that about 40% of the houses out there are owned by people that do not have a mortgage on the home? Okay. Emmett Tidings is a man who went out and bought his house, had a 30-year note on it, refinanced it, got a 20-year note, then got a 15-year note, and paid it off. He's one of the people of this huge percentage of people, 40%, that do not have a mortgage on their home. How lucky are they? So kind of crazy. Dr. Marvin sent a couple of great stories over I want to talk to you guys about. The first one is a University of Miami student that was set up a program where he could defraud Amazon shipping, and he could basically act like he was part of the Amazon shipping site. And what would happen was he could rearrange packages, making them look like they were shipped when they weren't. But what this guy did was he went out and got millions of dollars worth of refunds for basically merchandise. Sometimes it would make it look like he would pay for things and then get a refund for it and then resell the merchandise. He did it with watches that were very expensive. He did it with a lot of merchandise. The kid was 21 years old, and he did this to the tune of millions of dollars. Eric Clapton, the guitarist, been around forever, is considered one of the greatest guitar players ever, just had a guitar go to auction for $1.3 million. Isn't that crazy, guys? $1.3 million. And I just thought that was unbelievable. But again, it goes to that man who had the David Close painting that went for 40 grand. When you guys have something valuable like this and it's going to go to auction, do yourself a favor. Make sure the auction house is going to promote it. Make sure that they're going to let people know about it. Make sure that it's at the right audience, because if you have something that's worth $1 million, it's not for all of us. It's just not something that the average person can afford. So you need to have a select group, and the auction house is responsible for that, and you need to make sure you have a deal. Because that last video I talked about, a guy sold something that was going to go for as much as $10 million, went for 40 grand. Let's finish this video on an up note. And again, Dr. Marvin sent me this one as well. There's a man named Leroy Brown who's 90 years old, who we could all learn something from. He is a postal worker, and he attributes his long life and his health to working, to being fit, and meeting other people and getting out of his house and not just sitting on the sofa all day long. And he's still working right now. Think about this. When this guy started as a postal worker, Dwight D. Eisenhower was president. Chuck Berry just released Maybelline, the song. It was his first single. And the Brooklyn Dodgers won their one and only World Series. So Leroy, talks about staying healthy, being fit, being around other people, and it's done wonders for him. So we could all learn from Leroy. So thank you, Dr. Marvin, for sending me that story. If you guys ever want to send me anything, it's hello@iallegedly.com. Onward and upward. I will see you guys very soon. Make sure you're part of our email list. Click on the link below. It's the first link, and you can join our email list because one is going out this week, guys. I will see you guys very soon.